Pre-order the Clownfish TV comic book right now on Indiegogo. Go to clownfishtvcomic.com. That's clownfishtvcomic.com. This is a fun collection of all new comic strips based on dumb stuff we've said on the show. Again, that's clownfishtvcomic.com. You're gonna have to hurry. We're only taking pre-orders for a limited time. Now we're gonna get back into the show. Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
It's time for another daily dose of Dismal Disney.
Yeah, it just keeps happening.
It is happening a lot lately because of the situation in Florida with DeSantis.
Yeah. Okay, so let's recap. So Disney is suing DeSantis and the board that he put in, even though the board didn't do anything. So now the board had a meeting today and now they're going to sue Disney.
Okay, I'm trying to keep track of this. You're like, Disney's going to sue the board and DeSantis is going to sue them, and this person's going to sue that person. Then
Disney's suing DeSantis and the board. Okay, so basically DeSantis got the law put in, and it was just him. The both Senate and the House, agreed to it, that they would remove special district from Disney, and replace the Reedy Creek board with their own central tourism oversight whatever board that he appointed. They agreed to that, did it, passed the law. So Disney, when they knew this was coming, went out and made an agreement with Reedy Creek, but now that's under question because the Reedy Creek thing was that Disney's own chief legal counsel of Walt Disney World drafted the agreement, the restrictive covenants that then changed the name to the Reedy Creek's attorney for them to sign, which means Disney made an agreement with itself, which apparently is a big no-no. You can't do that. Yeah, it's supposed to be separate entities.
Self-dealing.
And now that it actually is a separate entity, they're pissed, and the separate entity voted to, nullify their restricted covenants were questionable to begin with. And then when they nullified those, then Disney turned around and had their LA lawyer in Tallahassee, and 5 minutes later sued DeSantis and sued the board, every person on the board, even though they just nullified their agreement, and that's the first thing they've ever done, and they had nothing to do with DeSantis passing laws over their quote-unquote freedom of speech.
Why can't Bob Iger just get on an airplane and go visit?
Because Bob Iger has his head so far up his own ass that he can't probably fit in a seat.
Because I'm like, this whole thing could have been avoided if both parties had just sat down and.
What blows my mind is when you're looking at this objectively and you're taking out the political. Do I think DeSantis, punished Disney because of politics? Yes, I totally do. I'm sorry, but I do. Do I think that Disney should have had the board, that their special district removed years ago? I also think that that's the case. I think that Disney has paid a lot of money, in my opinion, to make sure they got to keep that special board where they had privileges over everybody else. And now they're salty because DeSantis, who they probably thought was on their side, took it away. And I think that if you look at it objectively, though, these people are like, poor Disney. And I'm like, Disney has done a lot of shitty things, and just bringing the attorney in and, doing what they did underhanded to get the covenants in the first place was questionable. I'm just like, if you're mad about DeSantis, you gotta be mad about Disney, because Disney is doing all kinds of underhanded shit.
Yeah, this is, it basically comes down to politics of who supports which side.
That's exactly what it is.
Comes down to politics.
We will ignore everything that every red flag we see that is on our side because we hate the other side.
Yeah.
And that's a big problem.
That's a big problem with this country in general. Like, we're starting to see it now. Like, this is a side tangent, but I've noticed on social media, and I might do a video about it later. Now we've got right-wingers attacking anime. So, because, you know what I'm saying? So now everybody's like turning on anime on the right. And before it was like the right-wingers were defending the anime.
And people like us in the middle are just like, you're all full of shit. But, there was this thing going on Twitter too, speaking of Twitter, that they're like, because somebody said that DeSantis was giving money to some people on Twitter to tweet or something. I don't even know. And I was just like, and because of Disney. And I was like, wait a minute. I guarantee you, that DeSantis' list is far shorter than Disney's of who they've paid off, of what media they've worked with, of what, different groups they've used to get positive, PR, like their cupcake parties. And if you don't say everything positive, they call you up and complain about it, which we know personally. The media, Time Magazine is like piece after piece on Bob Iger. It turns out the guy who owns Time Magazine owns Salesforce, who has a 5-year agreement with Disney. So don't give me this shit. Well, DeSantis paid for tweets or paid these groups to say nice things. Disney does it all the fucking time. And they've done it for years, and they do it far greater numbers. So it's like, again, I don't think either one is right, if I'm going to be completely honest with you.
Yeah.
But by saying only one side's wrong is disingenuous, and it's a bunch of bullshit. I'm so sick of the double standards, I guess.
I kept thinking things were going to get better. I kept thinking that, people would chill out a little bit after a certain person with orange skin was out of office, and everybody would just calm down.
Well, I think there's more to it on the Disney side, but I'll tell you my thoughts on that in a minute. But apparently now the Central Florida Tourism Oversight District Board,
for people who can't mouse too good.
They're getting sued individually, and a lot of them are like, "We just got here, and they didn't pass the laws. They didn't do it with the stuff. They didn't go after Disney for freedom of speech or anything like that. They just got appointed to a board, and they're trying to govern the area fairly. And they're already getting sued by Disney for this freedom of speech, and they're going to sue back, but they're suing in state court where Disney's suing in federal court. But what was interesting to me is WW News Today has a breakdown of what Disney's suing for, right? And it's interesting to me. Remember, the freedom of speech, because DeSantis targeted them by taking away their special privileges that no other business had. Yeah. Which they shouldn't still have, because they never did what they were supposed to do in the first place to get special privileges. But, they want it back. This is all about power. Make no mistake. This has nothing to fucking do with the Don't Say Gay bill or any of that shit. They're just mad because DeSantis, because they threatened to do something, to go after politics, and DeSantis took their special thing away. He took it away, yes, because of politics. I agree with that. But Disney's not innocent in the situation. No. Here's what they're asking for. Number 1, declare the legislative declaration as unlawful and unenforceable because it abrogates Disney's rights in violation of the contracts clause. I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not going to I'm just going to read them. I'm not going to go too much into them, but you get the gist. Declare the legislative declaration as an unlawful taking of Disney's property rights without a payment of just compensation in violation of the takings clause. But it's not taking their land. It's the government that oversees the land, which is what Reedy Creek was. It was supposed to be a separate entity from Disney, but Disney was running it. They weren't supposed to be. Declare that the legislative declaration is unlawful and unenforceable because it is an arbitrary and irrational voiding of the development agreement and restrictive covenants that their own lawyer wrote and then put the other guy's name on in violation of due process clause. Well, I don't think due process was something you were really doing either, Disney. Now, the fourth thing, it's unlawful because, it violates their freedom of speech. The thing that they're saying it's all about is listed number 4. Then they want to declare the contracts remain in effect and enforceable, that Disney keeps all their power that they gave themselves. Right. Declare that the bill 4C and House Bill B9 are unlawful and unenforceable because, but wait, those are going to be undone, so you keep your district, and why do you need E? Issue an order, issue an order enjoining defendants from enforcing the legislative declaration. Issue an order enjoining defendants from enforcing Senate Bill 4C and House Bill 9B, which are they take away, they make the new board. Award plaintiff its attorney fees and costs, and grant such other relief as this court may seem proper. They're just trying to, look, both parties, they're trying to tie this up in court as long as they can. And the stuff moves slowly. I mean, I'm actually surprised. Well, DeSantis didn't put it tied up in court. Disney did. Yeah, but I'm saying they're going to tie it up in court as long as they can. Well, here's my thing on this. Okay. Disney, if they tie it up in court, they can't. I don't know how much they can do. If it's up for question about who owns the rights to what they can do, I don't know how many projects they can move forward on. They might still be able to move forward. I don't know. But if they can't move forward, this is my thought. It probably benefits Disney because Iger announced at the shareholder meeting that, we're going to spend $17 billion on Walt Disney World expansions. Thing is, I don't know if Disney has $17 billion for Walt Disney World expansions. I don't think they do. I think
So Universal's getting a lot of buzz about Epic Universe. Universal's developing quickly. A lot of people more excited about Universal and Super Nintendo World than they are Disney at this point. Disney has been putting off a fifth gate for years, and it can't even finish a roller coaster.
Right, but they conveniently announced this during the shareholder meeting when they're questioned. We pay more than anybody in Florida, and we're going to spend all this money that we never mentioned before. But here's the thing. You're also cutting jobs, and you're cutting $5.5 billion from your company because you're too bloated. And then where did all the money they go? They borrowed billions in COVID relief money, pandemic relief money, and they paid some of it back, but some of those were like 20-year plus loans. I don't think they've paid those back. So I don't know, but I'm like, they still might owe all that money. And I don't think that they have the money available, because their box office isn't doing great, and their parks are, people are going to Universal, not going to Disney as much. And I'm not saying they don't have it. They probably do somewhere. I just don't think it's as easy to pull it out as it used to be. I know, right? Some of the people that work there, some of the guests have no problem pulling it out. But that's another story entirely. But, I think that Disney's going to use this as an excuse. We were going to build stuff, but now because of DeSantis and his poopy-faced friends, we're not going to be able to build anything now. You pixie dusters need to side with us, because I'm sorry, Disney fans and pixie dusters and suckasses. If we had been able to have money available, and we would have been able to have, being able to do whatever we wanted like we used to with our special privileges that every other park doesn't have yet, can still get stuff done, we would have built this other gate. But now we're tied up in litigation that we started.
There's a giant hole in Epcot that has been there since before the pandemic?
Yeah, they'll finish the projects they have, and just don't know how much more they can do beyond that.
They were canceling projects during the pandemic while Universal was announcing more projects. No, Disney's overextended, and they're cutting back on projects. But you're right. What they'll do is they'll weaponize Disney fans because they know they've effectively got a cult. I mean, we have seen rabid Disney fans defend the indefensible just because it's their team.
And there's a lot of people that are Disney fans that aren't part of the cult, that are pretty fair and see it for what it is and complain about the prices and different things because they're like, wow, this is nuts. But there are these really rabid Disney, basically cultists, and they are ridiculous. The stuff that they say is just ridiculous. And look, I think that I'm sorry, DeSantis did do it for political reasons, but it's because Disney threatened to spend money on legislation to change laws, and he's like, whoa, you're a company, you can't do that. But he did. He is kind of taking it too far, like making the prison comment. It was clear he was kidding. Yeah. It was clear he was kidding. It was clear he didn't say it. He said someone suggested. But it was really dumb to say. I mean, I'm not going to lie. And I think that if Disney has special inspections, which I agree with the inspections of the monorail, contrary to some people, but they better be doing the same thing to other parks. Like, I don't think they should be enforced to do more inspections than anybody else. Nor do I think they should be let go from doing inspections over anybody else. I think it needs to be enforced fairly.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's just it. And that's what, my understanding. I mean, look, do I think this whole thing got started because of a political pissing match? Absolutely. But I think the end of it, it's basically they're putting Disney back to where Disney should have been.
And they're mad about it.
When it was clear that they weren't building a city, when it was clear they were using, the fast track that was given to them years and years and years ago to just, basically do some self-dealing and give themselves breaks and deals. And
I don't think, and I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think the government did anything about it prior because there was probably a financial,
I'm sure.
Incentive to not. I mean, I don't know that. That's my opinion. But knowing how Disney operates, having worked in and around the company, it wouldn't surprise me one iota. I know that they make phone calls to shut people up. I know that if there's something coming out, and usually, often it's true, and they don't want it to get out, they will do whatever they have to with their friends at the friendly media and different places to make sure it goes away. That being said, people are not looking at this objectively. They're looking at this as my side versus your side. And what's good for the goose is good for the gander. So if you're pissed about something that you think somebody else is doing, but Disney's doing the same thing, you have to acknowledge and be pissed about it from Disney too, or vice versa. Right.
So this whole thing got started because Disney stuck its nose in politics. Ham-fistedly got involved in politics.
We're Disney. We can do anything we want. But Disney.
But the weird thing is, this is about the quote unquote, don't say gay bill. However, Disney has done many things in the past that would be considered anti-LGBTQ+.
I just spent a few minutes pulling up some headlines. I didn't even spend that much time, honestly. I spent more time writing the thing and putting this together than I did finding stuff. Okay, look, here's just a few examples. Disney's pro-LGBTQ plus publicly, unless they want to get their movie in another country or they want money, and then everything's off the table. Disney removes gay Black Panther scene. This was after the whole thing with DeSantis and the Don't Say Gay. So you can't say, well, that's just because they're being attacked. No, this happened after that. After they said that they stand with the Don't Say Gay thing. Disney censors same-sex affection in Pixar films, according to a letter from employees from Variety. Disney is branded hypocritical for opposing Florida's so-called "Don't Say Gay" bill as it emerges movie giant cut LGBT content from its movies to please homophobic censors in Russia and the Middle East. Happened all the time.
There is a common thread here.
Yes,
we've covered it for years.
Disney removed same-sex kiss scene from Star Wars in Singapore. Okay, that was GQ. Disney accused of being racist after shrinking John Boyega in China poster. Star Wars China poster sparks controversy after shrinking John Boyega's character because, he's black.
People tried to make excuses for that. People tried to make excuses like, well, Finn's not really a main character. He was always meant to be a side character. I'm like,
no, he wasn't.
He is literally, this is why people are so pissed off about his character arc in that trilogy. He was set up to be the main character. He is the first hero character you see. Mm-hmm. And you follow Finn for the first part of the movie, and then as soon as Rey shows up, it becomes, the Rey and Finn show.
And it could have been Rey and Finn being both main characters,
right.
And, both being giant. But then you had Rian Johnson come in, and in order to elevate the female characters he added, you directly saw him destroy male characters that were set up in the first film because you needed a foil to Rose Tico, and you needed a foil to Holdo. So Finn got Rose and Poe got Holdo. And then you had to have them be some thorn in the women's side so that the women can show them the better way.
So the women can overcome the newly introduced diverse male characters that were literally just introduced in the last movie.
Well, he just introduced his characters. But
yes.
They directly related to those two characters to somehow bring them down.
Yes.
And, so I'm sorry. It was bullshit. Then they said, John Boyega, I'm the only cast member whose experience of Star Wars was based on their race. Disney is criticized after filming Mulan in China's Xinjiang province. Disney employees start food pantry for thousands of co-workers laid off, furloughed amid coronavirus. Yes, they did their own damn food pantry. Now Disney promotes it. They give money to it. They didn't before, okay? Disney cast members turned to Facebook for help, laid off theme park workers.
Yep.
Disney executives are unhappy about slashed salaries.
They're multi-million dollar
Even with
salaries.
pay cuts, Disney's top executives made millions in 2020. Disney Air criticizes $1.5 billion in bonuses and dividends as company cuts pay. Disney uses this promised $1,000 employee bonus as leverage over union negotiations. They also were in a union negotiation now where they would not give the cast members raises or fair pay. They actually came back to the bargaining table when they rejected their first offer and offered them less. And then Universal gave their people more money without being made to. And then Disney, because of the bad PR, just suddenly the union agreed to give them what they wanted after fighting them forever. I have the Mike Gallagher, chairman of House Special China Committee, talks about meeting with Bob Iger and Hollywood creatives and Q&A. And in the article, he tells the reporter flat out that when he asked the different people he talked to, Iger was his central focus. So damn well he asked Iger. And it was all, and they said it was focused on what happened with Mulan. So they asked Iger. Basically, if you saw this stuff going on, would you say something? And they're like, no, because we don't want to piss off China.
Yeah,
because they'll retaliate.
Pretty much.
Right, but they're for the people, guys. Disney under fire for Mulan credits and thanks Chinese group linked to detention camps. Disney accused of tailoring offerings to wealthy families, pricing out loyal customers after COVID closures.
So this is the company you're standing for. If this company leaned conservative, you would call them one of the worst companies on the internet.
Yes, exactly. They did until the whole DeSantis thing started.
Yeah. So, and the weird thing is that Disney for years actually did lean conservative. It was run predominantly by conservatives. Walt Disney was a conservative, but
Well, here's another thing I didn't even bring an article up for. Disney has sued Orlando multiple times for their property taxes, saying that wasn't fair. They should have to pay less. That they're getting gouged, and they keep suing and changing the process and things, so they don't have to pay as much. The money would have gone to help the city and help projects in the city that benefited everyone.
They got into it with Anaheim, too. They actually hosed Anaheim. They took a bunch of tax breaks, and they were going to build this hotel and build up their shopping district, and then they moved it. It was supposed to be facing, if I remember correctly, they were going to build, and this is years ago, this is like 5 years ago, they were going to build a 5-star hotel in downtown Disney in Anaheim. But it was supposed to be facing out toward the street in Anaheim, so it would bring business to the downtown in Anaheim. And they moved it to the other side of downtown Disney using that money, those breaks.
I think it was supposed to be like on the very edge. It wasn't supposed to be in it, but then they were trying to put it inside their parks.
They tried to put it inside their park, so you had to come into downtown Disney. Originally, it was supposed to be something that was going to benefit the entire downtown Anaheim.
So they got privileges for it.
So they canceled the hotel because they got into a big spat with the Save Anaheim. So they do this all the time.
So there's a pattern of behavior here. And it's like, and when the media calls it out, and when we call it out, it's not because you just hate Disney. No, it's because we're like calling out the bullshit. Like, you want Disney to do better. You're like, Disney, you need to do better. This is bullshit. You need to do better. And then now, if you call Disney out, you need to do better, you're just an alt-right Republican. And it's like, I'm not even a fucking Republican. This is just common sense.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, because we've got a lot of people that are just blindly defending this company. It's so weird because a lot of people that are blindly defending this company love cartoons. They love Gravity Falls, and Alex Hirsch has had scathing criticism.
Yeah, because they wouldn't let him put stuff in it, like the LGBTQ representation of the cartoons.
Right. Yeah, he wasn't allowed to put explicitly gay scenes in the cartoons. They censored the hell out of Gravity Falls. And he had to push back on that, and he will never work with them again, as I understand.
So the point we're trying to make is Disney's, saying that they got their freedom of speech violated for trying to defend stuff, that they themselves do this all the time, while claiming it was not because of political reasons on their side. It was just freedom of speech. It wasn't because we threatened to try to make ourselves a political entity that changed laws. It was because mean, nasty Florida is picking on them. Because they said that, that don't say gay bill shouldn't happen. Yeah. Meanwhile, while they're saying that in one side of their face, they're acting in contrary to the exact same thing, including some of the stuff like the Black Panther, and that was after. You can't say, well, this is all before. The comments about China, that just happened. The Black Panther thing happened after the whole thing with the Bob Chapek. So you cannot argue that this is all before and they changed now. They are no different. This is all about power. Make no mistake. This has nothing to do with your rights.
Disney will use social causes. I mean, for everybody, talking about Disney being woke, whatever, it's like they will use social causes to benefit their PR, to benefit their public image. And that's what they're doing here is they want people to rally behind them, and they know, like, well, we can get the internet behind us if we just push that don't say gay button. We can get them behind us, and never mind that this is all again just a power play.
Well, for example, Toys for Tots, right? Disney works with Toys for Tots for years. Disney himself helped design the original logo, and they do give a lot of money to Toys for Tots. That is true. But what's interesting to me is, come time for Toys for Tots, toy drives, Disney does a thing on Shop Disney, right? And what's interesting is they give a lot of money, and they give we give like so much percentage of toy sales, or we'll give a whole all the sales of a pin or whatever to Toys for Tots. But they'll have a page of toys that they're going to give you a discount on if you give it to Toys for Tots, and it's all the damn stuff they can't sell.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm like, that just sums it up for me. And it's like this. Disney didn't used to be this way, guys. They didn't used to do this.
And
that's what we're so mad about. They weren't like this
10 years ago. Even 10 years ago.
They were paying for the special district all the time.
Well, yeah, but
wink, wink.
Yeah, but that was, even 10 years ago, Disney was a very different company. 15 years ago, especially. And yeah, like the toy drive, that's like giving expired food to a food drive.
Yeah.
Like, we can't sell this crap, so give it to the poor
kids.
Yeah,
because it's a tax write-off.
Kids don't want it. Kids don't want it, yeah.
Yeah, we do these things because, we're helping people. And yes, in some level they are. And I honestly, sincerely believe the cast members wholeheartedly do volunteer work because they legitimately want to make a difference and want to help others. But I'm talking corporate Disney. When we're talking about this shit, we're almost always talking corporate Disney and their behavior, not the majority of people who work for Disney. And then sadly, what everybody's only hearing about is what corporations are doing. Look, DeSantis definitely did what he did for political reasons, but Disney is taking it way too far the other way too. And they could have worked it out. We all wouldn't be stuck here. And I honestly do think that if it turns out that Disney can't build things right now, given the legal things being tied up for years. It just benefits Disney because they didn't want to spend the money anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
They weren't. If they wanted to do this, they would have made announcements. How come none of this got mentioned until that shareholder meeting? All they were bringing out, and they're touting out their new thrills, was a Tron coaster that they've been waiting on for years and took them way too long to build, and a bunch of meet and greets. Mm-hmm. I'm like,
yeah.
You know, I don't know. That's just our opinion. Take it or leave it.
A lot of people leave it.
That's fine.
But some of them,
don't have to.
Some of them take it. They take it from
Yeah,
Clownfish.
I mean, you don't have to listen to us. I'm just pointing out the obvious, but whatever.
Take it from Disney. You take it from Disney all the time.
We're Disney shareholder. Well, I am. You sold yours.
I sold mine.
I'm a Disney shareholder. We have annual passes.
Yeah.
We have a Disney blog and had a blog for years and covered Disney news. And if something's good, we say so. You know, we're not like, oh, you just hate Disney. You just want to watch it burn. No, I just want to watch the current bullshit stop.
Yeah, this company has strayed very far from what its original intention was, and
they should treat their people better too.
Yeah. I mean, look at Universal. Universal is a progressive company for the most part, right? But they don't really get overly political with their cast members, their team members. I'm sorry. They still allow Christian concerts in the parks. They keep the politics out of it, and they just like put their nose to the grindstone, get stuff done. Disney can't even get stuff done. They talk big, but they don't get stuff done. Universal's like, oh, by the way, we got a new coaster dropping like next week.
Yeah, I can get up in front. I can get up in front of you and say I'm going to spend $17 billion too. Doesn't mean I actually have it.
Right.
You know,
it's posturing. They're trying to threaten. Someday we'll spend. It's like meanwhile, Universal's doing it, and
they're getting their asses kicked. And they know it. But this whole situation, and I think the general public at this point are just like, oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, just stop.
You know,
just stop.
like now they're suing this person, they're suing them. I mean, I can get the board suing Disney because they're like, why are you suing us? We just got appointed to this position. I mean, granted, it was the governor's own people, but there's like we haven't even done anything yet except nullify your contract. Would you happen to have a lawyer? You want to work with? Oh, Bob Iger, I'll work with DeSantis. I'll talk with DeSantis. I'll gladly talk with DeSantis and work something out. But has a lawyer instead of calling DeSantis and getting it ready? Has a lawyer at the Tallahassee courthouse when the board votes. Obviously, any board would have voted against that. The nullification. They would have nullified that. It was stupid. It was ridiculous. No company would ever. No legit board would ever agree to what Disney put out.
No.
If they were supposed to be controlling the area, they would never have agreed to that. I don't care who they were. They never would have agreed to that unless they were run by Disney. And then they have a lawyer at the Tallahassee courthouse to file, this lawsuit.
Ready to go.
Yeah. But, they could have spent all that time, money, and effort that they sent this lawyer out and spend on this lawyer to try to fix the situation.
Yeah.
And reach some kind of mutual agreement, make and fix it. But they didn't.
So that is current year Disney. This is current year Disney. And again, it's just they are, their public image is one thing. That's what they try to present. And then, they're presenting something else overseas. They're basically just trying to appeal to whoever they think is going to give them the most, clout,
and
money.
They do give money to charities and stuff. But every time they do, they have a big PR push with it. It's not just because it's the right thing to do or the goodness of their heart. Their cast members go out and volunteer and do things because they care and it's there, and they do it as they have organizations and groups in the company that go out and do their own thing. But every time Disney farts, and supposedly and to help somebody else, it's in every magazine ever, a photo shoot. Here we are doing it. Like even the affordable housing, they said they were going to do it. They did nothing on it. But as soon as DeSantis mentioned it, then suddenly the next day, there was a photo shoot with the PR photo shoot with these people. Yes, Disney's going to break ground on this next year sometime, maybe. I'm like, are you effing kidding me?
Yeah.
But we have lots of articles about all the, story living by Disney for the rich. I'm like,
that's right. I forgot about that. They're hipster. Their rich hipster communities are going to build.
I want Disney to be what people think Disney is. Like what Disney's telling these pixie dusters they are is what I want Disney to be.
Yeah, and they used to be. Look, they were never 100% pure, but they were much better, much more ethical company even 10 or 12 years ago.
Yeah, I wonder who came in after. When did all this stuff happen? Oh, right, Bob Iger.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So don't believe the spin, guys. But yeah, as far as how this thing is going to turn, I have no idea.
It's about money. It's all about money.
It's always been.
And about power. That's what it's all about.
Yep.
Make no mistake.
It all started with a mouse.
It did. All right. Now that my blood pressure's high, are we going to wrap this up?
Yeah, I'm definitely. I'll tell you the truth, guys. I am so effing over Disney at this point. Like, I don't even care. I am completely numb to it. Like, you do whatever you're going to do, but I just think it's so hilarious to see all these people trip over themselves trying to defend this massive mega corporation that does shitty things.
That they were mad about just a year ago for doing shitty things.
It's like, no,
I know.
big bad man DeSantis. I'm like, they're all bad. Yeah. Actually, that's one thing I'll agree with the Last Jedi about is the scene with the arms dealer where he's like, I sell both sides. Both sides. It's all bad.
Yeah, well, it's the media. Yeah. Like you have Variety and Deadline and stuff like calling Disney out for bad behavior like a year ago. Now being like, poor Disney. Oh my God, guys. Anyway, I'm not. My blood pressure is mostly high because I can't. The sheer, ignorant stupidity and double standards just frustrate the hell out of me. Anyway, we'll talk to you guys later.
Yeah, bye. Help support the channel. Go to thereef.support and get early access to podcasts, videos, and other content. That's thereef.support.